So part two, I'd like to go over real quickly why I did it this way. So Isaiah 1 talks about Israel is a rebellious nation, right? The Jerusalem, Zion, they're all rebelling, okay? And it goes on and on about righteousness and justice. Part 9 talks about Jesus is the mighty God, wonderful counselor. Okay, they define Jesus in Isaiah as a righteous guy who's with a warrior heart is here to suffer for God and to punish everybody and seal them in hell when you read through the lines carefully. Okay, Isaiah 16 speaks the cause of justice and righteousness. There's no justice without considering generational justice and sealing the inhabitants of the world in hell. Isaiah 24 talks about the earth is defiled and the earth is going down to hell. Okay, so now I went over 50 through 55 in part 1, so 56. Salvation for others. For those with universal pinpointed moral precision who maintain justice, okay, not Satan's psychology and the corporate state and the cultures that are allowed, the churches and synagogues and mosques, these guys are just following the leader, the leaders of the devil, and so on and so forth. Okay. God's accusations against the wicked, right? Betas is beast scrambled, the brute beast, the betas, okay, the people in the suits, okay, all these people pretend to be decent, okay, and they're beta nerd kind of leaders, you know, Biden, okay, Bezos, Gates, Elon Musk, all these nerds who act like they're ideal, okay. Virtue means man. These people don't have virtue, they just have conformity and they play the game, okay. These people are false idols like Nebo, a deity of scribes and science, much like the nerds, right? Bel, a deity of sailors and merchants and soldiers and so on and so forth, okay? And craftsmen, okay? And lightning, right? Zeus is Greek equivalent. These are the beasts of Babylon that have taken over the world, the cultures, the idols, the idolater cultures, the psychological construct, the social constructs, the cultures of the world, okay? And especially the church that pretends to worship God when they really worship Zeus and so on and so forth, and Lucifer and so on and so forth. Wolves in sheep's clothes, okay? So these beasts devour, okay? They're the most unevolved. They're idolaters. The rich, the military, they're women, the intelligence agencies, okay? These people are devouring people who are better than they are, but they're all not good enough to go to heaven after I'm gone. Okay, that's what chapter 56 is about, salvation for the people who are righteous, not for people who aren't. Okay. 57. The righteous perish, but no one takes it to heart. The devout are taken away, and no one understands that the righteous are taken away to be spared from evil. Okay, we'll stop for a second here. For whatever reason, things interrupt me during my video. And it's quite often not a coincidence. All right, anyway. So the less than child molester governing class, etc., you know, the offspring of the wicked, the whores, the gold diggers, the idolaters. Think about if you're a rich scoundrel, you know, and you're in a corporation and your wife marries you, you think she married you for love because you're devout? No, she married you because you're a Luciferian dog that often pretends to be loyal to God and to be blessed by God. There's few things more despicable than a rich person pretending to be blessed by God, or a middle class person pretending they're well off because of God, right? They just played the game and they followed Lucifer and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, so these people will suffer to the extreme in death while their lives hint at their fate. Okay. This chapter talks about God will expose their fake righteousness and their works, and they will not benefit them. They will cry for help. It says, let your fake idols, let Bel and Nebo save you when you're faced with eternal punishment and death, right? They won't be able to because they're false idols. Okay, in the psychological contract, they're called psychology. They're liars. They're the cult of various, rich merchants and kings and so on and so forth. God reveals himself to the righteous who obey God through me in the divine order. Okay? They have no counter argument for this and for the eternal fire argument. How do they reconcile burning in eternal fire if they think they can do what they want in this life, okay, when they're behind the scenes talking to their cults, and that magically hell is to be healed, for people to be healed. The top martial artist agrees with the Bible on this issue, that the top martial artist ever possible, mind you, because due to tech breeding and ill-gotten gains, that there is no way out of the eternal punishment they're facing. That is justice. These people don't think clearly enough, okay? The people who are the best martial artists ever agree with me, okay? And I'm not talking about Bruce Lee. I'm talking about a lot of these African people you never heard of, okay? That the only justice for these people and their offspring is eternal punishment, and to the extreme according to their deeds. Okay, so 58. Fake fasting is what this chapter is talking about. They're not actually fasting with their heart. Just not eating food is enough. It's another form of lip service, mere human customs and traditions and rules, and not from the heart with righteousness and justice. These people confuse what the rape by deception culture is. They use misdirection, the psychological construct, reinventing people, okay, peer pressure, subtle coercion, confusion, etc., to make their fake marriages and relationships and so on and so forth. And of course, there's 433,000 forcible rapes a year in America alone. Okay, so they're confusing what rape is. They pretend to do God's work, but abuse the poor, and they have no valid moral order. They let the hungry starve and oppress the righteous like cowards. God only answers very serious followers who actually obey God through me. Okay. Again, this is me telling you the truth in the chapter. Okay. And if you read the chapter and you think about what it could mean, and you think about what I'm saying, you'll see that I'm right. I suggest you read Isaiah all the way through and emphasize 50 through 66 and compare my take notes of the chapter and compare what I'm saying to your notes, and you'll see that what I'm talking about is justice, and if you're saying something else, it's not justice. All right, 59, sin, confession, and redemption. Okay, the hands are stained with, you see, their hands are stained with blood. Okay, no one calls for justice. No one pleads a case with integrity. I was just talking about that, right? You have to plead the case. You have to look at what's going on in the Bible and say, what is God saying? You have to have integrity and truth and justice, and stop thinking about what's in your best interest and what the church and the state wants you to say and think about what is actually being said. Okay, they rely on empty arguments and utter lies. They cause trouble and breed evil. When I say they have no valid counter argument, it's another way of saying they have empty arguments. Okay, they breed evil. They have evil schemes. Acts of violence mark their ways. Even if they stop being violent, they'll have established the future with all those rapes and murders and all those wars and all their domestic violence, all the things they've done to reinforce the psychological construct, all those acts of violence mark them and their offspring as the children of the devil. They've accepted the mark of Cain, right? Why did Cain murder Abel? Because Abel was righteous and Cain wasn't. Okay, and he said, oh, where are the righteous? He said, am I their keeper? Is that my problem? That's what these people are saying. They're saying to God, where's Chukuharu's descendants? You screen him out. Why didn't he raise his children himself? Why didn't he have children himself that he raised himself? Okay, because these people, okay, have said, so what? I was busy taking care of myself and my family. I got to feed my family, acting like bitches. Had they all come together, this might have very well played out differently. But instead, they're saying, so what? And then there's the people who led the charge and so on and so forth. Okay. There's no peace with God for them, no justice in paths of rebellion. Okay? They talk about their sins against God, and it says, he's referring to, Isaiah's referring to them saying that they were treacherous, they incited revolt and oppression and rebellion against God. They were lying from their hearts, right? When people refuse to obey God through me, it's because their heart isn't with me and God and I. Their heart is with the world, and their offspring delighting in the evil and the trickle-down pedo energy and despicable cultures of this world. There's no excuse for that kind of despicable, especially when you factor in they die in wars, they die in gang wars, police on duty, they kill each other, domestic violence, they kill themselves all the time.